There was a time when I believed friendship only needed one thing: sincerity. I thought if I cared deeply enough, people would naturally stay. Back then, I gave a lot of myself to my friendships. If someone was sad, I listened. If someone needed help, I showed up. I remembered birthdays carefully. I wrote long messages. There were even relationships where I took care of people more than I took care of myself. And somehow, I genuinely believed that if I gave enough love and kindness, one day I would receive the same in return. But life doesn't really work in such a fair and symmetrical way. I remember there was a period when I was going through something terrible. The kind of phase where your mind feels tangled all the time, and honestly, you don't even need advice anymore. You just want someone to sit beside you for a while. I had once stayed awake until 2 or 3 in the morning, listening to that friend talk about relationships, family, work, everything. But when I was the one who truly needed someone, my message sat there unanswered all day. Then eventually, a short reply came. "Sorry, I've been really busy lately." I stayed angry for a long time, not because they were busy, but because deep down, it felt like betrayal. I remember thinking, how could I give so much to someone, and when I need them, they're suddenly nowhere to be found? I kept replaying everything in my head. Every time I had helped them, every sacrifice, every moment I had shown up. And the more I counted, the sadder I became. Later, when I looked back on it more honestly, I realized something. What hurt me most that day wasn't their silence. It was my own expectation. Without realizing it, I had treated friendship like an invisible emotional contract. If I treated someone well, they should respond the same way. If I was always there, they should always be there too. I never said it out loud, but somewhere deep inside, I expected it. And I think many of us live with that same expectation without even noticing. Some people stay resentful toward old friends for years, simply because things are no longer as close as before. Some people feel forgotten after one missed birthday, and suddenly wonder if they were ever important at all. Some people see their best friend posting photos with another group, and immediately start feeling abandoned. I used to be like that too, so I understand. Human beings naturally want to feel chosen, remembered, important to someone. There's nothing wrong with that. It's deeply human. But I think we often forget something very important. Other people are living their own lives too. They carry their own worries, their own pressure, their own unstable seasons that sometimes leave them without enough energy even for themselves. Not everyone who drifts away is a bad person. Sometimes they've simply reached a different part of life. I had a friend I used to be extremely close with. Back in university, we were together almost every day. We told each other everything. At the time, I genuinely believed we would stay that way forever. But after graduation, life slowly pulled us into different directions. One got married. One became consumed by work. One moved to another city. The messages became less frequent. The weekly meetings became monthly, then yearly. At first, it hurt deeply. It felt like losing something irreplaceable. But one day, when we met again and sat together for a while, I realized something. The affection had never completely disappeared. Life had simply started flowing in different directions for both of us. Some relationships don't end because someone was wrong. They just quietly change shape over time. I think a lot of pain comes from trying to preserve relationships exactly as they once were, while human beings themselves are constantly changing. There's a slightly sad truth that feels more real the older I get. most people who enter our lives are only companions for a certain chapter. You become close because you studied together, worked together, felt lonely at the same time. But when circumstances change, the connection changes too. It sounds cold at first, but strangely enough, accepting that truth made my heart feel lighter. Because I stopped trying to force everyone to stay beside me forever, and I stopped blaming people for not loving me exactly the way I wanted. Back then, I also had a habit that honestly wasn't very fair. I used to quietly do many things for people and expect them to simply understand on their own, to remember on their own, to realize my effort without me ever saying anything. And when they didn't respond the way I secretly hoped, I became deeply disappointed while remaining completely silent about it. Looking back now, I realize I was actually a little difficult too, because I was expecting people to magically understand my emotional needs without ever communicating them. A lot of relationships become exhausting not because love is absent, but because so many expectations remain unspoken. The older I get, the more I feel that the healthiest friendships are the ones where both people remain free. No one owes anyone constant presence. No one is forced to always be available. No one has to emotionally perform just to maintain closeness. Some people disappear for months, yet when you meet again, the affection is still there. Some people don't text every day, but when your life truly falls apart, they quietly appear beside you. No dramatic promises, no loud declarations, just presence. Those relationships are incredibly precious. I once read a sentence that stayed with me. Mature people no longer measure love by frequency, but by sincerity. And honestly, I think that's true. Because eventually, everyone becomes busy surviving their own life. We're no longer children who can spend entire days simply sitting beside each other. So now, instead of asking, why don't people love me the way I loved them? I'm slowly learning to ask a gentler question instead. Can I truly care about someone without needing to possess them? That question changed something inside me. It made me stop controlling, stop demanding, stop secretly keeping emotional scorecards in my head. And strangely enough, once I stopped trying so hard to keep people from leaving, the relationships around me started feeling more genuine. The people who love me stay. The people who need to leave, leave. And there's much less resentment now. I know some people listening to this will feel sad, because almost everyone has had a friendship they once treasured deeply, only to lose somewhere along the way. Some relationships feel like they were supposed to last forever, but they only lasted for a chapter. Still, that doesn't mean those moments were fake. They truly cared about us once. It's just that not everyone has the ability to walk beside each other forever. And maybe that's okay too. A real friend isn't necessarily someone who promises to stay for life. Sometimes it's simply someone who, during the time they were present, made you feel heard, understood, safe enough to be yourself. And honestly, that alone is already something precious. The older I get, the more I realize life doesn't require a huge number of friends. A few genuine people is already a blessing. As for the rest, maybe we should stop forcing relationships to become things they were never meant to be. Because sincere connection never truly grows from obligation. It only grows in places where both people are still free.